Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about where to buy in Australia. We'll do around the grounds to get good capital growth, good positive cash flow in 2021. So my name's PK. I help people get positive cash flow properties with capital growth under market value with some value add potential without spending $10,000 or $15,000 on a BA, without spending their weekends at inspections, and also without spending months doing research. So I'm actually walking around in a suburb. I'm going to show you a property in a little while that I can say hand on heart is going to go up a lot in the next 2 years. So it would make a brilliant investment in 2021. Okay, so I'm going to get to that property. I'm just walking there now. But in the meantime, let me share with you some thoughts on where you should be considering to invest if you want positive cash flow properties, if you want capital growth in 2021. So let's start off with one of my favorite areas at the moment, Adelaide. Now, it's not a case of buy anywhere, but Adelaide is really, really strong. Whether you look at the north side, parts of the south side, parts of the east side or the west side that have already gone up, Adelaide is going to go up in 2021, 2022 for sure. And the best thing about Adelaide is that it's a large pockets of a positive cash flow, right? So the data, when I look at things like vendor discounting, when I look at things like online search interest, when I look at things like how much rents have been increasing, when I look at things like the developable land supply and building approvals, all the data, 35 factors, Adelaide, whole chunks of Adelaide, whole clusters of Adelaide tick a lot of boxes. So I'm just at the property now, which I told you about. So I'm going to show you it. You might even be able to figure out where it is on realestate.com. But there's a car coming, so I just don't want to seem like a sort of weirdo pointing at a property. So I'm just going to pause here for a while. But this property is in a suburb in North Brisbane. It's about 10k, 10, 12, 13k from the city. Look, I'm going to tell you, it's not positive cash flow, right? This property is not positive cash flow. The rent here is between 500 and 550. The property will go for around 600, but in 2021, that 600 is going to rise significantly. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2021 it rose $50,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it rose more than that, but it is definitely going to rise. So check it out. This one right here. So it's a pretty standard property for this part of this suburb. So I think it's a 3-bedder, 2 garage, 2 bathrooms, standard property, nothing special. But here's the thing, it's not the property that dictates the capital growth, it's the suburb. Okay, so we want to buy the typical type of property, the average type of property, nothing special. If the average type of property in a suburb is 4-bedder, don't be a hero and buy a 5-bedder, all right? Don't be a miserly and buy a 2-bedder. Buy the average type, because that's what tenants will want. That is what our future owner occupiers will want. Think about this. In the future, in 1 year time, in 2 years time, in 3 years time, will someone pay more for this property than what I bought it for? And if you can't for sure, if you can't be certain that that's the case, then you shouldn't be investing in property if you're trying to achieve capital growth. Okay, because through data we can be very scientific. We can be very prescriptive. We can actually figure out which property will grow. Now, like I said, this one in the property that I showed you just before, you can't see it anymore. I don't know exactly how much it's going to grow, but using data, you can find that it will actually outperform, relatively speaking, the majority of other suburbs around Brisbane. Now, this property is in a nice, quiet part of this estate, of this suburb. It's very low maintenance. It's relatively new. And when I say relatively new, it's kind of like 10, 15 years old, which means it's still got good depreciation on it. So it's going to be something that could sneak, it could actually be positive cash flow after tax deductions. Okay, so look, this is the great thing. Everyone's different. But if you want a positive cash flow property after tax deductions with capital growth, I just showed you one, right? And I can be confident that that actually is going to be a high performance property, if you can't be confident that what you are buying is going to be high performance, is going to give positive cash flow, simultaneously it's going to give good capital growth. This one right here, I know the agent, by knowing the agent, which really just took about 4 or 5 emails over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, didn't take much time at all. Before this came up, I could have got this off market. I didn't, because I'm not trying to buy in this suburb right now. But that's what anyone can do. You don't need to go to a buyer's agent to do that. You can do that yourself. So this property, in 10 years time, it's going to be, if it's 600 now, it's going to be a good $1 million, right? I can say that because it's going to happen, because the data shows it, because not only are the high level things that everyone looks at lining up, like population growth, incomes, good part of the suburb, green street, good demographic, but the local government area, the micro factors are lining up as well. And those are the ones that are oftentimes more important, in fact, all times more important for predicting short-term growth and getting simultaneously positive cash flow, right? So that was a property. Now let's continue. So I think South Newcastle and probably parts of West Newcastle, sort of, we're talking beyond 10 kilometers from the CBD, are going to do really well, and they're going to be positive cash flow opportunities there as well as growth. Okay, so that's another area over on top of Adelaide that you want to consider. Of course, Ballarat has done wonderfully for everyone who's invested there in the last 3-4 years. I think Ballarat, the stock on market is getting a bit high. There's a lot of developers coming in. So the price increase is going to mellow out there, but Bendigo still has plenty of legs. Not everywhere, right? A lot of areas of Bendigo have gone up too much, but there are still some pockets. So Bendigo is interesting. I'm going to do a whole separate video on Sydney and Melbourne. So I'm not going to talk about that right now, but I took you in Brisbane. I think inner southeast and inner northwest Brisbane are going to do really well within the Brisbane City Council, or just at the edge of Brisbane City Council and Moreton Bay Council. Those are going to be some really good areas to buy where you can get a really, really, really good growth, and you might sneak in positive cash flow after tax. Obviously Darwin is improving, which is good to see, but I don't think it's quite yet investment worthy. And Perth, once again, everyone's talking about Perth like it's the next big thing. It is improving. For sure, vacancy rates are going down. For sure, prices are edging slightly higher, at least stopping the downfall. But when you look at the myriad of data factors that you should actually be looking at beyond just vacancy, beyond just yield, and I'm not talking about population growth and things like that, Perth is not giving me enough confidence that 2021 is going to be the year. Okay, Perth is not giving me the confidence that 2021 is going to be the year. All right, so for now, if I was you and you want capital growth and simultaneously positive cash flow in 2021, you want to be looking at regional Victoria, you want to be looking at almost anywhere in Adelaide, right? And when I say almost anywhere, I don't literally mean almost anywhere, but the north, these crows are really loud, but north, south, west, east, there are pockets of all over Adelaide that will do incredibly, incredibly well. Brizzy, like I mentioned, those 2 pockets of Brisbane, around the Hills district, potentially. I'm not going to give away too many secrets. There's only a few pockets around there that could do well. And Newcastle, like I said, and once again, I'm not talking about places like Islington where, I personally have made, $200,000-$400,000 in about 5 years. Those areas aren't primed anymore. There are other areas in Newcastle that you should be looking at. Hobart is always the question of the day. I think Hobart's had its run. I think it will continue to go up. There is lots of infrastructure coming in, but you know what I think about infrastructure. Unless it's funded, it's approved, you can actually see something happening, it's too soon to buy because of infrastructure. Too often it gets delayed, too often funding gets pulled, too often the media articles hype everyone and it doesn't end up eventuating. Right, so Hobart infrastructure could continue to prop up Hobart and places like that. But I think in Tassie, you really want to be looking at regional to be making significant money in the next year or two. But look, guys, what do you think? That was my around the ground very, very quickly in about 10 minutes. But what do you think? Where do you think you can find properties like I just showed you that you can be 100% convinced will be great opportunities for positive cash flow, but also capital growth in the next year, in 2021? Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me where you want to be investing, where you think will grow. Put it in the comments right below. Really want to hear. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to get some opinions and we can discuss and debate, right? I know what the data is saying, but I'm keen to hear what you are saying. So hopefully that was super useful, guys. My name's PK, and yeah, give this a like or a love if you enjoyed it. That way more people can see it as well. And I'll drop a link below as well where you can actually learn how to find these growth suburbs where you can find positive cash flow properties under market value with subdivision potential, with renovation potential, and really learn to grow a portfolio and actually do it. Because 2021, best year to be investing in property for a long time. Those of you who have been following me for a while know that I don't say that often. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Catch you later. Bye.